Hi, Saif. Welcome to our show.
Hello.
You know, looking at the promos of the film, this looks like a complete commercial film. And we also believe the title was your idea. Tell us about that.
Well, we were sitting around thinking, I mean, titles are so important because they kind of sum up the whole movie and either attract you or not, according to me. So I remember Tigmanshu saying that, why don't we call it Jairam Jiki, which I thought was a very unappealing title. So, you know, I said, what other titles, something? And he said, well, we're doing a film with Kangana called Revolver Rani.
Right.
So I said, oh, that's a nice title, you know, it should have been like Revolver Raja. So he said no, and then I said, well, why not Bullett Raja?
Okay.
And then everyone in the room kind of looked at each other and said,
that sounds
okay,
cool.
that sounds nice, let's go with that. And it kind of caught on immediately. So if you get a nice title, it you know, it really helps you publicize the film or talk about the film. It picks up its own energy.
So it has the flavor of the movie itself, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah, yes, no, but I'm saying rather than, you know, production number 3 or a film like this, or, you know, it's nice to, from the beginning of a film when it's planned, if you have a title, then and a nice title, it kind of publicizes itself constantly in a way. So it's a good thing.
You know, somewhere you said that the film is kind of reminds you of Desi Scarface. How far is that true?
Well, I mean, I think Scarface is one of the most perfect and brilliant films ever made. So, you know, that I'm not seriously comparing ourselves to that, but it is the rise of a gangster from an unlikely place and a very charming gangster, because even Scarface was like, you know, a sharp and violent guy, but somewhere there was the childishness and a very innocent charm to this character. And so there was that plus the dangerous side that made it interesting. So in a very basic way.
Two-sided characters kind of thing. That's
yes. So, I mean, while the background of the film is action and it's got, you know, this, it's not violent, but it's got, see, the thing about UP and these characters is they're all very cinematic and entertaining in a way. I mean, there's Ravi Kishan playing a slightly dumb but crazy and smart in his own way hitman, you know. Gulshan Grover playing this really kind of slimy businessman who, I mean, all these things are really entertaining. So I knew I'd lose track of my answer if I digress into these guys. So in the middle of that, you've got Bullett Raja, who's actually this, Tishu's portrayed it as a very charming and fun and like a, you know, really lovable kind of guy. But the fact is that what he's doing is I mean, he's becoming a gangster. But it's a nice, I think everyone watching it, like the audience, would wish they could be like this guy. Because, I mean, I do when I watch it, that I wish I could be like that. I mean, he's somebody who doesn't, he's not scared of anything.
Somebody fires bullets, you really think the audience will want to be like that?
Well, I think that's the point with films like this. Like, you play somebody who's not afraid of anything. You play people who are not, you know, they're slightly rebellious. They don't, you can't really control them. They make their own law. There's something attractive about that. I mean, that's the whole basis of these kind of movies, including Scarface.
So that's the kind of cinema I believe you like, right? Because you've spoken about how you like this escapist cinema.
I mean, I generally, I think even, I mean, I've always liked escapist cinema, rather than, I wish I could say I like European cinema and like, you know, thought-provoking or disturbing cinema. But it's not really my scene. I like to watch a film to forget about my own life and my own mind. I like to read.
Right, you're a voracious reader, I believe.
Yeah, you know, but I like to read, you know, as much as I can, and I don't read much escapist stuff. I read more non-fiction and you know, history and art and all kinds of things. But my films, I like them to be very either very, I mean, entertaining in some way. I think it's a great medium for, you know, to lose yourself. So things should be well designed in terms of production with great background music and like a visual experience that kind of makes you forget about what's going on.
You know, when one thinks of Saif, you know, the things that come to mind is very soft, cool, urban. So when you're doing a role like this, does it take that much more effort like what you did with Omkara? This reminds us of that. So how much does it take for you to break away from the person you are to do something like that?
Once you get used to the role, then it becomes easier. But initially, it is a little difficult to understand. I mean, doesn't come to you naturally, because the way you're standing is wrong, and the way you're talking is probably wrong for the role, because And Tishu would often tell me that do that again because that's a little Western. Or don't use that mannerism because it's a little Western. So, but that's what made it fun.
Yeah.
Then finding a look for the character and the kind of clothes that he'd wear, and they're all pretty. So, I mean, in a way, that's the soul of acting, really, is to try and create a character that's attractive. And if it's nothing like you are, then all the more fun. But
right, further away from what you are, really. Yeah. So Tigmanshu has been saying that this is like a tribute to the 1970s, and he's also said that this reminds him of the pairing of Amitabh Bachchan and Rekha ji. You know, how much that remind you of it?
I think that's too much praise. And I mean, if he means that he really likes us, that's great. But because I think, Mr. Bachchan and Rekha ji are the sort of quintessential 70s film pair.
Absolutely.
I mean, so I don't think we're worthy of that kind of praise. But
well, that's being really modest.
No,
here,
we're not, because Bullett Raja. If Bullett Raja was Mr. Natwarlal, we'd be, I don't know, it'd be something else. We hope to attract.
Yeah, hope it gets there.
Yeah, but like I say, that's a huge thing. So, what he means is that that he likes the two of us together, and it looks like a. Because quite often, I think the relationship between the two characters, the girl and the guy, remind him of the kind of relationship between, Mr. Bachchan, like a protector. You're playing to the girl, and she's also kind of grounded and earthy and fun in a way. And as far as 70s cinema goes, I don't think it's that 70s. I mean, I don't know, if you say that if you're going out of your way, I mean, in a way, it's got these guns and the kind of treatment.
Tell me, Saif, how well do you think you're doing as a producer?
We've made 5 films, 4 of which have kind of run.
Yeah, and also interesting ones.
Yeah, so we've got another 3 on. I think it's good fun. It's peacefully creative.
Right.
Like you sit in office and you plan a movie, and you feel nice to do that.
I mean, you seem to be experimenting in that space, but do you also worry about the monies continuously? I mean, how do you balance that creative, and the monetary aspect?
I don't know. There's various aspects to it. Like you want to make nice films to support your career as an actor. You want a nice reputation of making good films. You want to also be thought of as a production house that chooses interesting things and makes good cinema. So that's it. But I mean, how do you grow? I mean, do you want to do something international? Do you want to do something? Even though the more I think about it, I don't think we should be doing international things. We should be developing our movies.
Why do you say that? Isn't Bollywood has this fascination for doing subjects that cross over and
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we should.
You don't want to do that.
I think
why do you say that?
Because I think East and West are fundamentally different people. Indians and Easterners, and I'm an Easterner, and there's a lot of. For exactly the same thing that you would look at the West, our own culture has the same thing to offer in a slightly different way. I can give you an example. I mean, if a Westerner prays in a beautiful church and has that kind of atmosphere, I mean, even a silk carpet and like a beautiful mosque or like a beautiful temple can be as powerful cinematically, I'm saying. So I think the two cultures, because I've lived in England, I've lived in India, we can never really be the same. So you shouldn't try, because crossing over means it's something very complex. The films that do, people think East is like a film that, but it's an English, British Asian film. Slumdog Millionaire is an American film. People think it's an Indian film. It's not an Indian film. So we've got our own culture, and we need to develop and work hard on our cinema. Because apart from Hollywood, we are the only other film industry in the world. The only thing we are lacking, I believe, is writers. And I think we don't have writers because kids from good families who are educated and creative would rather become IT experts or go into medicine or computers or any other field because we don't pay them yet. There was a time when people would not even be interested in coming to Bollywood, but now the money's become so good that people are suddenly finding it absolutely okay. There's a lot of girls working on our sets. Earlier there wouldn't be. So things are changing for the better, but I think we should concentrate on our own culture and cinematically try and just make better films, rather than think about crossing over.
How far we can go there, absolutely, like Omkara was a kind of a game changer for you, the kind of role you played, people saw you in a very different look. So will this also be something like that? Or do you look forward to a movie like this? Because a role like Cocktail, you play with a lot of ease. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
that comes to you easily.
I mean, this is a tough
Naturally.
role, but it's a hero. But I don't think it will be as much of an acting achievement as Omkara, because I think that I did that when I was a bit younger and people didn't expect it. I was going to say that since then, someone's given me a national award and a Padma Shri for contribution. So I hope I can act a little
Life
bit.
has changed since
But a little bit, I should be able to act. It shouldn't surprise. But this is a hero's role, and that is Shakespeare.
Absolutely.
At the core of it, and Vishal Bhardwaj directing a kind of an all-star cast in doing something. This is like a action drama, you know, a kind of more masala movie in comparison. But Omkara was Othello,
right?
And it had all of us doing interesting roles,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's a little unfair to compare the two.
Absolutely. But you know, you work with some very great directors. There's Tigmanshu, there's a Karan Johar,
Right.
and there's a Vishal Bharadwaj. How different are their worlds? Like when I'm from a Dharma set to this set.
Everybody's world is different. It's unbelievable. Sometimes you work with these guys, and I'm very entertained at how little respect they have for each other beyond a point. I mean, I don't know, in a way, because they all have completely different worlds. Like Kabir Khan, completely different to Sajid Khan, and they both come over sometimes. And I'm like, you know, that's really funny because they're very different, and Raj and DK are different. And I mean, Karan Johar is still a producer who embraces all kinds of films, you know, but director to director, I mean, it's good for us because they're all so different and we get to work with them.
Do you ever see yourself directing a film?
I don't know. I kind of like the idea.
Interesting mix of cinema in your head, right?
Yes, there is, and I like the idea of being in charge of telling the story and having, you know, the responsibility of creating the world. But I'm scared of the amount of work it involves, not just out of laziness, but directors often tell me what to do.
Being a producer is as much work, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But a director is like really, it's a director's medium.
Yeah.
You know, this is about this filmmaking cinema is a director's medium. It's not an actor or producer's medium.
Yeah. The last question I want to ask you, Saif, is that, you know, when most of the actors have taken to like a social media, like a Twitter or Facebook, to interact with their fans, promote their films, one doesn't see you do that at all.
You know, I love my fans.
Because you like guard your private space, like
not so much.
obviously.
I mean, it's probably a function of laziness, but I mean, I love my. I don't want to sound like an idiot saying I love my fans, but I'm really conscious of working hard for the audience.
Right.
Like if I'm giving a shot or something, I really want people to get their money's worth because I want them to feel that their money is well invested in a ticket with a film with me.
Right.
That's what I'd like to aim for. So I have a lot of respect for my fans, but I also like my privacy a little bit. You know, and I feel in this age, I mean, we're becoming more and more open to that.
In nature.
And yes, voyeuristic in nature, and that's fine. But also, you know, when I read people's comments on the net or when you hear about these guys, I mean, a lot of them are slightly negative. You know, so I don't really want to get into it. I mean, I think there should be a certain amount of a distance between people. I mean, we don't really know each other. That wasn't the deal. The deal wasn't that we're going to sit in each other's bedrooms now. The deal was that I will do my best to work my ass off to make good films and try and give you entertainment. You buy the ticket, and then we all go our separate ways.
Right.
You know,
so you don't like the idea of stars and fans coming so close.
I don't. I'm saying to each their own.
Right.
But I'm saying a lot of people I've seen on Twitter and seen on social media sometimes getting a little offended with the kind of stuff people write.
Exactly.
Because if you open yourself up to a one-on-one, you should be ready for some abuse.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if I want to be ready for abuse. I have enough going on. Thank you.
Awesome, sir. It was a great chatting with you, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.